Good afternoon, Mile High. It is your Mile High Monster, and there are a bunch of stat nerds out there who are trying to tell me that Bo Nix had a worse season in 2025 than he did in 2024, and I'm here to be as neutral as I can and as patient as I can. I know this is titled "The Revenge of the Nerds," and I have nothing against nerds. I'm a kind of a nerd. I'm a Star Wars geek. But maybe they've got a case. Maybe we can look at these numbers a little bit, but I'm gonna provide a little context, to these numbers because I think our eyes told a different story than perhaps we'll just call them stat nerds for the rest of the show, of what they think, because we don't care what they think. But anyways, excuse me. If you can see this on the screen, these are Bo Nix's stats from the last 2 seasons. This is from ESPN. And 2024 and 2025, he played 17 games in both seasons. It looks like he threw about, 50 more attempts. His percent was down a little bit. He threw for about 150 more yards. TDs were down a little bit. Interception was down by 1. Sacks, he had 2 less sacks. So if you go by rating, if you like rating, then he had a better rating in 2024. If you go by QBR, he had a better QBR in 2025. So the stats are, needless to say, close, but also confusing. And then, of course, we got rushing touchdown. He did have another rushing touchdown in season 5. So I guess what I'm saying, oh, by the way, let's keep in mind, in 2024, Bo did have 1 receiving touchdown target, and he didn't have 1 in 25. No catches. Bo, I'm sorry you didn't have any catches and any receiving touchdowns in 2025. So that probably seals the deal for 2024. I'm obviously kidding. Let me reset this board here if I can figure out how to do that. So what we're going to do, take a quick look at Bo Nix, 24 versus 25. And I'll look at both the numbers, which we kind of just did, but then we need to look at the games and compare, what we saw on the field. A lot of us have been watching football long enough to know good football play when we see it, and I trust my audience to do that. I've gotten to know you guys very well. In fact, if you look at the bottom of the screen, it says, please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. Thank you. We just hit 2,000 subs. So 2,000 of you ball knowers out there. So I don't need to tell you which season was better, but we do need to fight off the nerds a little bit and take a look at what really happened in 2025 versus 2024. So did Bo get better or worse? Here's some of the numbers that you'll see out floating around out there, and I just covered some of these, but 29 touchdowns versus 25 touchdowns. Different situations, different game plans. His percent of completion was down a little bit, but he was tossing the ball all over the place. If you remember, we weren't able to run the ball after J.K. Dobbins went out. So we were passing the ball a lot more, and even with all those passing attempts, he threw 1 less interception, which I thought, that's not a bad ratio. 25 touchdowns. They say 2 to 1 is okay. This is better than 2 to 1, so we'll take it. And let's talk about 2025 a little bit and what we saw from Bo this year. And I'm not discounting the late. There was a late surge by the offense last year in 2024, and then they kind of tailed off, and then we beat the Chiefs, who played their backups. But there was a pretty good run in 2024 too. So this isn't discounting anything about 2024. Bo actually played really well for a rookie. In fact, he set some NFL records, which I'll get to as well. But in 2025, I kind of thought back to like these 5 games right here. Of course, the big game against Green Bay, that game, was supposed to be, I don't know, like, are we for real? That was the for real game. Remember, everybody was calling us a fraud all year, and we had won, so many games in a row, and the Green Bay was going to come in and show us what a real team looked like. And all Bo did was go out and go 23 of 34, 300 yards for 4 touchdowns. He had 134 passer rating and an 86 QBR. And so that was a really, really tight game from him. And it was one of the first times that I kind of sat back and when I rewatched the game, was just amazed at how comfortable he looked, right? Like, last year, remember all the talk about his footwork and how he was fidgety in the pocket and all that? Haven't seen that in a while. I don't believe we saw that after the bye at all. Even in the one game that we lost to the Jaguars, which was the only game Bo lost since, I guess, the Colts or something. Like, I mean, the guy went on a winning streak, not for a broken ankle, but I apologize. Got a cough. I don't know why. And then, of course, that Cowboys game. This was like week 8. We put up 44 points. Bo, again, 4 touchdown passes, 81 QBR. He was showing things that we just didn't quite ever see from him before. And that's why I'm more of a QB win stat. Wins are a QB stat, 1. And 2, just watching him play versus the box score. Box score watching is good. Advanced analytics are good. I have people on my show that are very good at that stuff, but they provide context for it. I won't just sit and let somebody spout stats without some context. The Giants game. Now, this was a tale of 2 games, of course, because I believe in that Giants game, it was like 19-0 or 19-6 in the fourth quarter. Bo went off in the fourth quarter, 165 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. The first quarterback in NFL history to do that in a single game. What an amazing watch that game was, to see your franchise quarterback, can we call him that now safely? A franchise quarterback, never give up. And it was something that John Elway had in him. There was no quit, because the game's never over with these guys. And he proved that in that game versus the Giants in week 7. Earlier in the year, in week 4, I thought that Bengals game stood out to me. I had a couple notes I had on that, but he threw over 300 yards, a couple touchdowns. He ran for another touchdown. It was a pretty dominant game. It was kind of a blowout. I think they controlled that game really from beginning to end. And so that week 4 was following up. I think we were 1-2 at the time, and that game started the win streak. I should have looked that up before I came on, but I think that's right, isn't it? We dropped the Chargers game, so we beat the Titans. We got the leverage call where we got robbed of that win against the Colts, and the Chargers, Bo marched us down, got us tied up in the game, and then the defense couldn't hold, and the Chargers ended up winning a field goal with seconds left on the clock, or no time left on the clock, I believe. And then we went on this run, and the Cincinnati Bengals game was where that kind of all started. 28-3 win, a real dominating win. And then after the bye, into the playoffs, biggest game of the last decade, out comes Bo Nix, playing a very tough Buffalo Bills team. And I expected the Broncos to play well. We lost to them the year before. But Bo never looked shook. Again, like, the play on the field just tells a different story. And I don't have his stats in front of me. I think it was just under 300 yards, but he had 3 touchdowns. I know he hit Marvin Mims right at the pylon with just a clutch play. And then, in overtime, we get the interception. He marches us down the field as you'd want our field general to do, and wins a game for us. So that's kind of the highlights of those 5 games. I guess the stats can say whatever they want, but here's another stat. Bo Nix led 12 comeback wins this season. It's an NFL record. So in other words, the Broncos were losing in 12 games that Bo Nix won. This is an incredible stat. And you had that with the Tennessee Titans, the Eagles, where we were trailing 17-3 in the fourth quarter. That crap game against the Jets. Nix again had to mount a game-winning drive to win that game. Of course, the Giants game, we were way down. We were actually down in the Dallas game that we came back and stomped them. Don't forget the Houston Texans game, where Bo had to lead like a field goal drive at the end of the game to win that one. That was the one where he ran around like I did a 25-yard run, like he just took over the game, which is why that AFC game will always break my heart, because I know that Bo would have found a way to run the ball around. No way he loses 10-7 in that game. But week 10 against the Raiders, he did it. Of course, against the Chiefs, we were trailing 19-16 late in the fourth, and then he led us on a game tying drive, and then back and got the ball back, and then led us on the game winning drive in that game. Big comebacks. Of course, the Washington Commanders game, where Mariota made our defense look like hot knife, through butter. But Bo completed 4 passes for 71 yards in overtime for the touchdown drive. And luckily, Bonito was able to slap the ball down and save that win for us. But that was Bo Nix. It's their fault. They went for the 2-point conversion and couldn't do it. Again, and then I could name all these, but then you've got the Raiders, the Packers, of course. There was a 52-yard touchdown pass that I think just broke them, even though I thought they played pretty well. And then that kind of mess Kansas City game at the end of the year. It was a game-winning drive, though, in the fourth quarter to clinch the number 1 seed. So I guess I fight stats sometimes. I do believe in them. Let me see if I can get out of this screen, if I can figure out how I'm doing this. But it's a thing. It's a thing where stats are so close. A stat guy could look at Bo Nix's stats and could say, well, his stats weren't as good. But does that mean to you or me that Bo played worse or regressed in year 2? No, it doesn't. It's not even close. In fact, there was a lot of talk. Remember all the stuff we were reading before the season started, is Bo Nix primed, for a regression in year 2? And it never looked that way. I've never seen him look so comfortable in the pocket. He gets almost too hyped up sometimes. Earlier in his career, he was really jumpy, like he's got to do something right now. And now he seems more patient, and he's waiting for for receivers to come open, and he doesn't really get hopping around or he doesn't take off too early. He looks the part, and he's throwing to a wide receiver room that did not help him at all this year. I think we'll see some changes in that wide receiver room. I'm fairly confident that we can say that Bo played better this year than he did last year, regardless of what those numbers said, even though they're that close. And I'll keep this as close to 15 minutes as I can, but I just want to run down these records with you real quick. NFL records so far, and this is just year 2 for Bo Nix. Okay. He's the first quarterback to record 20 or more wins, 7,500 or more passing yards, and 50 or more touchdowns in his first 2 seasons. So, most wins by a QB in their first 2 seasons with 24, tied with Russell Wilson. Most game-winning drives by a QB in their first 2 seasons, 10. 10 game-winning drives in his first 2 seasons. That's amazing. Most comeback wins in a season by a quarterback he set this year. Most comeback wins in a season ever by a quarterback, not a rookie or a second year or anything else, the most ever with 12. He is literally the comeback kid. So anybody else who claims to be that, Andrew Luck, whoever, you are not that. That is Bo Nix. He never gives up. Of course, that Giants game, he set an NFL record. He was the first player in history to have 2 passing and 2 rushing touchdowns in a single quarter, which is a cool record to have. And then the highest single game completion percentage by a rookie quarterback ever with 89%, 89.7%. So those are his NFL records so far. Broncos franchise records. Now, these are hard to get because you've got John Elway in front of you. And you've got Peyton Manning in front of you. But most of these are rookie records. So most passing yards for a rookie, 3,775. Most passing touchdowns, 29. Most completions by a rookie quarterback at 376. Most total offensive TDs in a season by a rookie at 34. Most wins in a season by a rookie quarterback, 10. So that's right. The Broncos won like 7 games Elway's first year, I think. I don't know. I'm old, but it might be because I'm old that I can't remember. And then most wins in a season by a quarterback, any quarterback, 14. Now that's regular season, right? So we got ourselves a guy. I don't think it's worth talking about. I thought it'd be a funny show. That's why I'm just going to spend, what we're going to do 20 minutes on this. But it just seems, I never claimed to be an analyst. I never claimed to be a stat guy, and this is why. I know what good football looks like, and I know that Broncos fans know what good quarterback play looks like. We've seen it, especially in Denver. We've seen some of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game on the field at Mile High. And so our fans and my subs, our guys, we know what it looks like, and we see it in Bo. Now, let's see what Davis Webb wants to do with that. It's going to be interesting watching the next couple weeks. What we keep hearing out of Dove Valley, 2 different stories about whether Davis is going to be calling plays or Sean's going to be calling plays. As I sit here right now, I don't plan on Sean Payton passing that off, but maybe some combination of that. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. I think Davis is going to be a little more aggressive than what Sean's been lately. I don't like the fact that our offense shuts down for quarters at a time and then comes alive. So a lot of these, comeback wins are because of some Bo Nix, some Sean turtling, playing it too safe. Davis Webb does not seem like the kind of guy or play caller that will call it too safe. So I'm sure if he is handed the reins to call the offense, my guess is that Sean Payton would still maintain, control over the overall game plan and how aggressive they're going to be. But in the meantime, during the game, he probably would let Bo and Davis, whatever they're feeling. If he's feeling it and they want to go for it and they want to keep putting up points, then let him put up points. If Sean's getting nervous, he can always walk over there and say, "Hey, let's get the ball on the ground. Let's short safe passes. Let's get out of here with a win. Don't take any chances with the ball." Then of course Davis is going to do that, but it would be nice to see dominant wins instead of comeback wins. That should be the next step in our progress as a team. We went from 10-7. We got ourselves in the playoffs, lost to Buffalo. This year, we roll through the league, tied for the best, record in the league. beat the Buffalo Bills, and then, of course, we're, broken ankle. What can you do? Hats off to the whatever that team from Boston's name is. So good luck against Seattle. That's all I got to say. That's all I got. I think Bo definitely played better. I hope that wasn't too clickbaity, but I wasn't really sure how to title it. And then when I put the stupid thing up, it said it was the wrong size, so I had to redo it, and it, whatever. But Bo Nix is the guy. I know you guys know that. You don't need me to tell you that. Thanks for tuning into these. I like doing these quick ones when I got a little time, and this was on my mind. So I'm glad I got it off my chest, and I'm glad that we have Bo Nix in Denver. So go Broncos. I'll talk to you guys in the next day or so. Appreciate you. Thanks.